And so it begins.
That's canon.
That's canon. Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of That's Canon here on franklinarmstrong.com. Hopefully you guys have had a wonderful little time away from us. Or if anything, you're listening to these all in order. You're like binging, which would be awesome.
Yeah,
I hope you have been binging. My name is Brian Doc Holliday. I'm one of the hosts of That's Canon, and I am one of the co-founders of franklinarmstrong.com, as well as one of the hosts of the first podcast from that site, which is Geektastic Cypher. Hopefully you guys are also checking that one out. And to my left is the good man himself. I'll let you introduce yourself, man.
It's all David Kozio all day, every day. That sounds so narcissistic. I can't even get out of that. I can't even go back. But no, co-writer and colors for Trinity, produced by Squared Idea. That is www.squaredidea- Sorry, excuse me. I can't talk today. It's www.squared-idea.com.
There you go.
Took what, 3 times?
Third time's a charm, as they say.
That's how it goes. Which is a nice Montreal-based company founded by Chris Nicholson and Mike Wilcox for striving and up-and-coming artists.
They're trying to give people a chance to develop amazing content. So if you guys are writers, artists, if you just have an idea and you're looking for someone to co-create with, you can always hit them up, squared-idea.com. And look up their information. Their contact info is on there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's all on the site.
Yeah, it's all on the site. It's all on the site. You can also visit us on Facebook. We also have an Instagram as well.
Yes.
And you can always tap onto us as well via Patreon, which is another great way to visit nice independent artists that are also coming up.
Support your local artists. And by local, we mean wherever you are in their local. Or support local artists if they're abroad.
Yeah, but just support artists.
Yeah, that's true.
Support artists.
That's fair.
Just you see something
Except
you like,
Taylor
pick
Swift.
it up. Yeah, there. And we lost all the viewers.
Oh man, I would hope that the people that listening to this aren't offended if I say and we drop Taylor Swift, because I feel like some of the things I'm going to say about pop culture sometimes are going to tick y'all off.
Well, we also remembered my whole Doctor Who fiasco last time.
Yes. You're lucky that my partner did not come in and start stabbing at you with her, because she has the sonic screwdriver.
Oh no,
she has a sonic screwdriver.
She's like, "Get out! This podcast's over."
yeah. But yeah. So we're here this week. We are doing this episode. This is episode 4, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, episode 4 of That's Canon, and we are going to be discussing Red Hood and the Outlaws 2016 run, which the first run of the comic was the Dark Trinity, I guess we could call it.
Well, that's what the story arc is, and it's appropriate if you look at the first cover. You see what you would imagine is the dark mirror of Trinity. Trinity being, well, DC's Trinity, I should say, because not to confuse our readers there, or listeners, I should say, but DC's Trinity would be Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Yes.
You get on the first cover, and you see Bizarro, who's obviously the dark version of Superman.
Yeah.
Red Hood, who, again, you could claim is the dark version of Batman. There's probably darker versions of it, and people could argue maybe there's some villains.
Owlman, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But it's like, it is that.
Who is the closest good version of the dark?
Yeah. Like the not wanting to destroy the world dark version of Batman.
yeah.
And then you have Archimedes, who is just,
Artemis,
sorry. Yeah. Her story is actually very interesting.
I mean, I found it interesting because I'm a huge fan of Greek mythology, which has always made me a big fan of Wonder Woman. And the fact that Artemis is Greek, but raised with through Egyptian gods was very interesting. I found that very interesting. And yeah, so we're going to talk about that whole Dark Trinity, which has been done already. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, you already have so much disdain.
Oh, man, I have so
the
many...
cynical smile that I was welcomed to when I walked into this place today is not.
I have so many comments. So you know what? I'm going to let you do the elevator pitch first this time because I know if I do it, it's just going to be me insulting it.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, I guess I'll read the general blurb.
Oh, yes.
When a shocking encounter with Batman solidifies the Red Hood's status as a villain, Jason Todd becomes deep undercover to take down Gotham City's criminal underworld from the inside. Along the way, Jason meets two unlikely allies, a disgraced Amazon warrior named Artemis and a baked Superman clone called Bizarre. Half-baked, sorry, I couldn't help but laugh on that one. And the DCU's Dark Trinity is born.
Yes.
Which I apparently there's another one. I'm not familiar about the other Dark Trinity, although there's been reincarnations of this probably 20 times over.
I mean, the Crime Syndicate of America has the kind of a Dark Trinity, but they're also in a different universe.
Oh, but that doesn't count. You're not.
No, I'm talking about the Dark Avengers. That's my thing.
You think this is the Dark Avengers you're going to compare this? Okay, I think that's part of the review process.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about the story.
That's what I told you. I was just like, don't let me do the elevator pitch yet.
Right. So basically, if we're just going to go into this, Jason Todd.
But this is your elevator pitch.
This is it. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So Jason Todd, he is the anti-Batman ever since he's been brought out of the Lazarus Pit. He's been no shame of killing people when need be. Realizes, as always, I don't like how Batman's running the Gotham City. I'm going to do anything I need to, whether it's fake killing people, or just figuring out the bad way of solving a problem. He's there to do it. He eventually recruits Artemis and Bizarro along the way. However, their way of becoming a team is not necessarily the most unique way. It's a bunch of people being very individualistic. One person going after
the Bow of Ra.
The Bow of Ra, which is an ancient weapon of destruction. One person who was actually just in a test tube, a big test tube, until he was finally awoken, and Jason being thrown in the middle while he's just trying to take down Black Mask.
Yeah, like major player in the Gotham landscape. Underworld.
That was the word I was looking for. I was going to be like most powerful crime lord. At the current moment in time. And it's just how they're trying to take them down, and to see how if these three unlikely allies will be able to mesh and be a team.
All right.
Oh my God! Like I feel like you're gonna eat this out.
No. My elevator pitch would be: we're gonna take. Okay, how can we tell a Trinity story without the three main Trinity characters? Okay, where do we get the best knockoffs? So for Superman, we have an actual knockoff, Bizarro. For Wonder Woman, we have a pretty good knockoff, this Artemis chick. And for Batman, yeah, I guess we could throw in Red Hood. Why not? Because we've already done Nightwing and his team version of this, and let's just do it with Red Hood now, because he's the second Robin, so let's do a second time with him.
Oh, but I wouldn't say it's like that.
Hey, my elevator pitch. All right, so I'm in the elevator, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, let's take Superman's flip and Wonder Woman's flip and Batman's not even a flip, but the closest thing we have to a Batman that people might be interested in, and who we used recently anyways. And let's make this Dark Trinity work. Ding! Oh, we're all getting off the elevator. No one liked my idea? Okay, well, let's just do it anyways. Yeah, that's why.
So much disdain. I didn't realize there was going to be so much anger coming from
It's not even anger.
I know.
It's just legit disappointment. Writer Scott Lobdell and artist Dexter Soy create a story that centers on Jason Todd as you said, anti-Batman. In this kind of focal point, that one of the things that you can see for the main first cover is you do get your Dark Trinity, but once again in the shadow of Batman, something that I felt was very telling of the mentality that Lobdell took when he was writing this, that they're, no matter what they do, they're in Gotham and they're always going to be under the cowl and the veil of Batman as his city, which is very interesting because it is addressed.
It is addressed
at the end of the arc specifically, something we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the pitch. That's pretty much where you start off and how you would pitch it to people. And I don't feel bad saying that. I mean, I'm going to be bluntly honest. I didn't like this one, so it's going to be very interesting for me, because usually I like when I read things. And it's not that I didn't drudge through this. It wasn't hard to read. The read was good.
I'd say the read was pretty
I didn't like the story. So that's what we're going to be getting into. But we're going to get into that right after this Our next segment is Best Fave Worst. You guys have heard it here before.
B.F.W.
B.F.W. It's one of our favorites because we get to tell you who we think is the best, our favorite, and the worst. This week, we're keeping in the theme of the Bat family. So this week, we're going to be doing the Bat family. So the best, fave, and worst Bat family members.
Yes. Do you want to take first shot, or do you want me to take it?
Yeah. I mean, I could take first stab.
Go
For me, the best Bat family. So remember, this is Bat family, so anyone other than Batman. All Bat affiliates, all Bat Incorporated are available because they're all part of the Bat extended family, which is what you were saying yesterday, right?
Yeah. Anyone who's been an official ally, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, so for best Batman, I'm sticking classic. I really do think he was the best. Dick Grayson, Nightwing. I really do. I think that the fact when Batman dies a couple years ago and Dick puts on the cowl and Damian becomes his Robin was one of the most interesting Batman and Robin stories. And Dick as Batman was really good. He actually was really good at it.
Yeah, he was.
One of the things that everyone always said is just like, people could tell it wasn't Bruce, which was cool. They were just like, oh, you're not him. You're not the same guy. There's something about you. Oh, you're polite. You're kind of a nice guy. Like, I think one of my favorite moments was when Gordon has his first interaction with him, and he's just like, "You're not the same guy." And then at the end of the conversation, I think is it maybe, I don't know if Damian's there, but someone disappears, but Dick is still there.
Yeah,
and Gordon's just like, "Oh, you're still here," and he's just like, "Yeah." What? Like he doesn't realize.
Yeah, like I'm supposed to do the cool Exodus right now.
I was supposed to wait till you turned your back and disappear. What? No. And it's funny enough because eventually, I mean, they did that in Justice League. They took that and ran with it. Instead of Dick Grayson as Batman, they did it with the Flash. He's just like, well, was I supposed? Okay, so I like that. My favorite Bat family member. Now this one's really hard because I have to think of everyone and anyone who's ever been a member, and it gets really difficult for me because I like Damian. Damian is one of my favorites because I feel like he's the best trained, the most arrogant, but he's arrogant because he is that good. You don't often get arrogance that can be backed up.
Okay.
I mean, there's a recent story where Damian is being held captive by Slade, if I'm not mistaken, and someone's telling Batman, like, don't we have to go save him? And he's just like, nah, he's okay. And I'm like, what? Why is he not giving a fuck about this kid? Like, why do you not care that this kid is, like, in a bad way? And, like, and Damian is in a tank, and it's filling with water, and it's like, he's, like, chained, and I'm like, yo, Bats, this is getting really bad. And still nothing. But every time they show Batman, he's just working on other stuff, and Damian is slowly drowning. And then I guess they get the information they need, and Damian goes up to the side of the tank, bangs his head on the tank. His hair, like a piece of his hair comes off, and it's like circuitry, and it's like a kit. And he has a lock-picking kit. And he gets out of the tank and like blows up the... And the whole time, I was like, what kind of father are you, Bruce? You're gonna let your son die? What the hell? And I'm like...
He's letting him learn from his mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. In the end, not even a mistake. Fully planned. They wanted him to get caught. They wanted him to be able to get, like, information. And at the end of the comic, I was just like... Good God, man, you would risk your child. And that's when it dawned on me, it's not a risk to him. He realizes that Damian is so good, he doesn't have to worry about him. And even after Jason Todd died, even after Tim Drake died, usually you would think someone would be like, well, I gotta protect my own son, who's a Robin. But no, it's not even like that. It's not that he doesn't care. He's just like, yeah, he's got it. And I'm
just gonna go back to saving the city.
Yeah, and that's what makes him my favorite. The fact that Damian is essentially all the things that Batman always wanted in a Robin, but just with the edge of a sociopath, makes him my favorite Bat family member because he's completely insane and you love him for it. He's a rude, arrogant, amazing kid with the skills that could challenge anyone, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care, and that's why I love him for him. And then the worst for me was Azrael. Jean Paul, I think.
Yeah.
So Jean Paul, the reason I dislike Jean Paul is because he's unstable. One of the aspects of his story is that he was brainwashed, right? Early on.
Yeah.
But even at his most stable, I don't find him to be an interesting character.
Okay.
I don't find that he brings much to the table in regards to storytelling. I mean, I feel like the other Bat family members have a stronger background and more that they can dedicate and build on, as opposed to Azrael, who they kind of just use. Azrael, to me, comes across as someone making fun of Moon Knight in the Bat universe. That's what it comes across as. It comes across as, we have Batman, then someone made Moon Knight, and then someone said, oh, let's make fun of Moon Knight. And then they made Azrael, who wears a similar cloak and has mental instability. And, like, there's so many little...
There's a lot of nuances that you can tie from one to the other.
Yeah, like, there's the little things. Because, I mean, it's not like Deathstroke and Deadpool are actually very similar.
That's an argument for another day.
They look the same.
They are based... That's I disagree with that, because that's like the same coin, but different side of the coin.
And that's why I'm saying, if you were to take Moon Knight and make his delusion religious as opposed to Egyptian myth, do you not get Jean Paul? Would you?
Agreed, but if you're going to compare with,
that's what I'm saying. Deathstroke and Deadpool. If you're saying,
but one's insane, one's not. You could say the same thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
I would say Deathstroke's insane. Deathstroke is a sociopath who can control his narcissism.
That's what makes him not insane. That just makes him a crazy person. There's you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
There's a difference.
He's not, and that's the thing.
He's not insane.
Yeah, and then Deadpool is completely insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Moon Knight is pretty much insane. Yeah. And Jean Paul is pretty much insane.
That's fair.
It's just their delusions come from different places.
That's fair.
I think Deathstroke's insane, but that's just me. But yeah, so that's why, like, for me, Jean Paul was the worst. Okay. Sorry. So Nightwing, Robin, Damian, and Azrael, Jean Paul. There you go. My best fave worst.
For my best favorite, this is really hard for me because I'm. If anyone knows me, it's Deadpool and Batman. That's really my shtick. So, I would say best is actually a combination of two people. Okay. One is I completely agree with you for Grayson.
Yeah.
Grayson, he's taken up the mantle. He's put Batman in his place. Clearly, if he was never alive, Batman probably would have done something really stupid and killed himself by now. Yeah. I think out of all the Robins, and regardless of Damian being his son and whatnot, he's definitely the biggest anchor he's ever had in his life.
He has grounded him. Yes.
And if he never had that, who knows if he could even have had Damian would have accepted Damian in his life, because Dick is really the first child he's ever had.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, and Dick again picks up the pieces when he's not around. With that being said, there's only one other person I could say is the exact same, and probably even maybe goes a little farther, which is Alfred. Yeah. Alfred, and I say that because everyone's like, oh, he's the butler, but he's so much more than the butler. He's an actor. He's been in the army as a med tech.
Yep.
He's pretended to be Batman so Bruce can be in two places at once. He's covered for him every single step of the way. He's covered for him for every single time someone's like, why is Bruce being a dick to me? Why is he doing this?
Yeah,
it's always Alfred who will go to the Robin or to the person and be like, look, there's a bigger thing at play here. You can't see it's just him. He's lost a hand for Batman.
Yeah, the one that told them that Bats was getting engaged to Catwoman.
Yeah, he's
sat all the boys down.
Yeah, he's the person that Batman. I would say he's the person that Batman trusts the most.
Yeah.
There's even a crazy... they even suggest that Alfred was the Joker.
Oh, yes, I've heard that one.
He pretends, and he's like, oh, he was so crazy.
Yeah, it's not fan fiction. That's like an alternate reality story.
Exactly. And he's like, oh, well, if he needs to be normal, for him to be normal, I'll become crazy.
Yeah.
And so with that, I'd have to say a tie between Dick and Alfred, just at that.
Yeah.
It's hard to take away the two. And again, kind of torn for my favorite. I would say definitely my favorite without thinking much would actually be Red Hood. Oh. I like the controversy. I like how it's the complete opposite, which is another reason why I was actually going to say my actually second favorite or tie for favorite would actually be Damian. Because the cool thing about when Batman and Bruce, I shouldn't say Batman, when Bruce and Damian start finally doing the training for him to become Robin. It's actually the opposite, and he acknowledges, like, for a change, I don't have to train you as a combat, as spy or anything. I have to train you to be a good person. And that's really true, because Damien
he was
brutally kills people all the time.
And
he's raised by the League of Assassins. And Resh Al Ghul and Talia al Ghul obviously had a big influence. So I find those two characters, the way they naturally conflict with Batman, make me my favorite. The worst, I would say it's spoiler for me right now. She's a girl who's on the...
Stephanie Brown.
Yeah, she's on the Batman detective team.
Yeah, she's actually in third place for one of my favorites.
I'm not a fan. I find that she's a whiny little bitch. I'm not gonna lie. When Tim dies,
if
like,
she's
her
good
reaction
enough to get the nod from Batman, though, that to me seems like that's my only thing. And I would agree with you if Batman himself never co-signed her.
I would say that, but, like, Batman's make mistakes before, and he's made a mistake now, in my opinion. Tim dies, and what happens right away? Not only does she, like, piss on his parade, but she helps the bad guys. I forget who it is. It was like some type of, Tim dies, it looks like he dies. He's really taken away by someone else. I believe it's actually Jor-El, because it's a whole... Actually, no, it's not Jor-El. I'm mixing
some
up
weird story.
I didn't get to finish the story arc, but I know he's extracted and put somewhere else. And, like, she's like right away, like, "Oh, you didn't love us. You didn't care for us, Bruce. You let Tim die." And you're just sitting there, and you're like, bitch, like, he's had, like, so many fucking Robins, and, like, you know what? He doesn't like when they die. He's gone out of his way. He didn't want to make this team rich. Someone else made this team because he didn't want it anymore, because his Robins kept dying, because, it's part of the job that it's a very dangerous thing, and she doesn't care. And then she not only gets vengeful about it, she puts the entire team in danger, and the people who were destroying the city at the time, they had a plague or disease type background. I forget the exact characters, but she basically helps them, and you turn around and you're like, so someone dies and your, like, result is I'm going to kill a lot more people just to get vengeance. You shouldn't be on the team. I mean, that's my opinion.
You're saying the same thing I said for Azrael. When it comes down to it, I guess if anything, when it comes down to it, it's the characters who look like they're going out of their way to be angry and vengeful, as opposed to, like, Batman's whole thing is vengeance, but, like, when you're doing it for what seems like the wrong reasons, and Azrael's whole thing was when he took over for Batman in that short time after Nightfall, is just like, yeah, you're a little crazy. Like, your vengeance style is over the top. And I didn't read these stories, but if you're telling me that's what spoiler becomes, which sucks, because I think Stephanie Brown is an amazing character.
Well, I think she tries to bounce back at one point, but at one point she's like, yes, I tried to do this, and she goes up to Batman like, screw you, and you're just there like, so...
so once again, though, does this new continuity consist of the history, the past, where she became Robin for a short period of time?
I believe so.
Okay.
It has all that.
She went back to spoil.
Yeah,
because she starts out as a crook.
Yeah, no, she does, right? Yeah. It's after all that, they end up making a team with Batwoman, Clayface.
Oh, yeah.
Tim's in the group at the beginning. Her and another person, I can't remember her name. It's another ninja of sorts, but
not the Cassandra Cain one.
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, anyways.
But the point of the matter is, shit hits the fan and bad things happen, and it's like, oh, so your lover dies, and now all of a sudden you have the right to, like, put everyone else in danger because you're having, like,
that's one thing.
A moody moment, and they don't get me wrong. I mean, you're sad that someone's dying, but, like, at the same time, so, like, I'm going to kill everyone. No.
That's one thing about comic books, that the kind of this heavy emphasis on love being such a big decision maker sometimes is pushed too far.
And frankly, like, if you're going to be on the Batman team, you gotta get much thicker skin. Because if you don't think there's gonna be blood being spoiled, you gotta remove yourself. You spoiled yourself. Spoiling it out. That's fair.
That's fair. Yeah, so if you guys have opinions on this, you can always hit us up on Twitter at @AStrongFranklin, or you can go to the website, leave a comment on the website in the episode when it's posted. Any which way you want to get in contact with us, even check out our sites, look up our contact information, and if you have opinions on this, let us know. What are your thoughts? Who's your best, favorite, and worst Bat family member?
Yeah. Or if you want, make suggestions for us to talk about.
Anytime. That too. Let us know. Give us ideas.
Feedback at all.
So we're going to go into our next segment, ladies and gentlemen, the review. This is where we review the full overarching story. In this one, we're going to be reviewing the 6-issue run of the Dark Trinity introduction in Red Hood and the Outlaws. So,
Right,
do you want me to start?
I don't know. You're the one who's salivating at the gums, bro. I'm just gonna say I liked it. It was nice.
I'll let you start.
I'll just say this before we get into the details. It was a nice, simple read.
Yes.
The art was great.
Yes. Dexter Soy, 2 points, homie.
One thing I will say, which is something that for like the other Trinity, they always have like deep stories with a lot of talking.
Yeah.
The guns are doing the talking.
Yeah, a lot of action.
A lot of action, and the action tells a lot of the story. And I'm always more prone to that. I like the picture's worth of 1,000 words. I prefer that a lot more than anything else.
Okay.
So I think it was really good in that regard. And I also like that they actually kind of clarified the whole Black Mask thing, because like, if I remember correctly in continuity, there's actually 2 Black Masks.
Yeah.
Mr. Sionis and I forget who the other person was, and one was just a guy who liked black masks and was like, or got like burnt or singed and had to have this black mask, and the other guy was actually someone who had a certain degree of like telekinetic abilities, and they kind of merged those 2 stories just to be like, you know what, we only need 1 black mask, we don't make this any complicated, and they kind of like tie that out. That I really like with this whole like organic virus thing.
Yeah.
I also, one thing that it was interesting was I liked how you really found Red Hood's mental place in regards to Batman.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's like, I don't want to do things your way, but I also agree that now that I've gotten over that I died and you didn't come to save me, maybe killing's not always the answer, but I will still kill if I need to.
Yeah.
I like that, and I like that he at one point says, I am not going to be the person you wanted me to be, I'm going to be the person that you need me to be.
Yeah.
To be like another like balancing weight in Bruce's life, let's say.
Yeah, because it's kind of the way the DC universe is set up. Everyone's always comparing how Superman and Batman are light and dark, but then, you know, it's varying degrees. So if, let's say, light is complete left and dark is complete right, then, you know, Batman is like, I don't know, 9/10 of the way to dark.
Yeah.
He's not actually all the way in the darkness.
No, like, but 10's black, right? So
yeah.
He's like 9.5.
Yeah.
He's
and
very
then
close.
Red Hood is 9.7.
Yeah. Would you say that?
Yeah, he's not 10. Because 10 would be going in with guns and just popping people's heads and walking away and being like, I've done my justice.
That's true.
But he's definitely more inclined to harm someone. He's definitely more inclined to harm someone than I would say Batman is.
Definitely.
And that's why I would say Batman, if Batman is the like 9.5, then Red Hood is like 9.7. He's willing to go further.
I would say 9 and 9.5 then. I'd say
sure, whichever.
You know,
I'm just saying he's willing to go further. We could say 9.1,
sure.
9.2. Either way, I'm just saying the Red Hood's decisions are based more in, you know, it's not an eye for an eye. It's you did wrong, and I can't risk you being out there to continue what you're doing. So I'm willing to do what it takes to stop you.
Yeah.
And he references the fact that Batman actually does something similar. Batman doesn't kill, but he also won't help you if you're in peril.
Yeah, and he addresses that at one point.
And I think that
he played by his rules, so to speak.
And I like that reference. Like, those are the things that I'll tell you what I liked about it. I like that the Red Hood does legit play by, and he does it almost sarcastically. He plays by Batman's rules to a T, in the sense that it's just like that loophole at the end where someone's about to die and the Red Hood's just like, I ain't gonna kill you, but I ain't gonna save you either.
Yeah, and that's a direct thing from the movie
exactly,
too, right? Like,
that's the thing. Batman won't kill you. He won't put the bullet through your head, but he'll let something happen.
Oh, if you're running into a sword that he's holding because he's holding it.
I don't know if you go that far.
Like, that's what you're trying to say.
Okay, the best analogy we could give: hanging from a cliff.
Okay, yeah.
He won't pull you up.
No, he's not going to good son you.
Yeah.
You're Macaulay Culkin, you're falling.
Yeah. But he'll walk away and he'll just be like, you know, if the universe decides you get to live, you live.
Yeah.
That weird, funny enough that Batman, who doesn't come across as very spiritual as a character, kind of sees the karmic balance taking care of things in those types of moments.
Which would be actually really good comparison to all the times Joker almost died. Yeah. How he never saves Joker, but then Joker falls or whatever, and then still somehow comes back.
Oh my god, that's a whole other. God, the Joker. But yeah, and Artemis, I like Artemis because like I said in the past, I've said to you, I don't know if I've mentioned on this show, but I've mentioned on Geektastic Sci-Fi, I'm a big fan of mythologies.
Okay.
Greek, classic, Roman, Native American, Norse, Egyptian. I love all those mythologies. I have dictionaries, encyclopedias, and everything on that stuff. So anytime you're going to bring in a character, Artemis, who is an Amazon, who is linked to that, I'm going to find it interesting. The fact that she's a Greek-named character, Amazon, which is Greek mythology, linked to the Egyptian gods, even more interesting.
Yeah. Which that's actually a lot more interesting because they go into really, in the next story arc, because we're only going to go up to issue 6.
Yeah.
The next story arc is actually all that.
Yeah,
So
I figured.
if you like that stuff, it's actually really interesting, and they really explain why she's displaced.
Yeah. I mean, if the writer was better, maybe I would continue.
Oh, wow. I will also say one thing, though. I really liked how they became a team.
Yeah, I mean, this was a better story than how the Justice League became a team.
Yeah.
Because the Justice League kind of just became a team. It's just like, oh, it's out of necessity. These guys became a team not out of necessity. They became a team because the moment called for it, and they just they don't like each other but respect each other enough to know, we should be a team in this moment.
Yeah, but more out of circumstance.
Yeah.
But and one thing with that is that I actually liked how Bizarro was very compared to the Red Hood. They did story arcs. In the issue, I believe 4.
Okay.
When he's basically befriending him, almost becoming like an older brother to him or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a reflection in the water of when. Oh, sorry. There's about 3-4 pages where there's just a reflection of what's going on to Bizarro and what happened to Jason when he turned, when he died.
Yes, in the Lazarus pit.
Exactly. And I thought that was actually really nice. I believe it was in issue 4.
Yeah, because Jason's essentially trying to say that, I understand what he's going through right now, where he's just I've gone through it. Yeah. Yeah, issue 3 or 4, one of them, I don't remember.
And it's just really nice because there's this one point where Jason's actually trying to hold up Bizarro because he's at a weakened state, and then in the body of water that's beside them, you see when Talia al Ghul was holding Jason when he was getting taken out of the Lazarus pit, and I like those types of comparisons. I'm old school like that, classic storytelling. That's what I like. So
yeah, I mean, all that stuff was good, and the writer did take advantage of those aspects of the story that he could really use people's histories to correlate connections and move it forward. Great. But
I was waiting for it. So I'm just going to go silent for a minute. And
my one thing about this is, Red Hood, the whole story starts with Red Hood fighting Batman to save the mayor. He sets it up so he looks like he's attacking the mayor, and then hits the mayor with some cure because the mayor was being controlled by Black Mask, and he fights Batman. And the thing that I like the most about that moment is the way he fights Batman is he knows he can't beat him, but he can outthink him in some moments. Yeah. Because usually you can't outthink Batman. The whole point is Batman is, the second smartest man in DC Universe, only to Lex?
Something like that. As a human, as not super smart.
Yeah. On Earth, within the construct of, being human, we find out in, I think, the Doomsday Clock story arc that the two smartest men in the DC Universe are Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne. Which I'm fine with. So the fact that Red Hood knew he wasn't going to be able to beat him, but he just needed to outthink him for 1 second, which is what he does, and then beats Batman, I thought was great. But the fact that the Red Hood, throughout the entire story, is wearing a big old red Batman sigil on his chest, and that we're all supposed to just sit there and think, yeah, this is an interesting story. So you're going to go into a crime organization dressed as a Batman-affiliated character and then run around in this crime syndicate with the Batman sigil on your chest, and for 3 issues, no one mentions it. For 3 issues, no one says once, "Hey, boss, this kid's got a Batman symbol on his chest. Don't you think we should maybe ask him about that?" 3 issues. 3 people. Every time I was reading this comic and Red Hood is interacting with the Black Mask, I'm thinking, he's wearing your enemy's logo on his chest. Why aren't you asking him about it? And then when, in the issue where Jason Todd is fighting Artemis, and, you know, Black Mask is like a general in an old movie. He's on the top of the hill looking down at his soldier. And he sees his soldier go in, and he's fighting. And he's like, "That's my boy." And he's watching him fight Artemis, and Artemis is just like, "Hey, man, you're, like, pulling your punches, and, like, right now, you're shielding my body with your body." Are they not noticing? Is it that bad of a viewpoint that they haven't figured out you're not on their side? Artemis, who, I mean, because I don't know much about her so far in the story, so I can't really say how intelligent she is, but she doesn't seem like the brightest bulb in, you know, she doesn't seem like the brightest bulb. She seems like a great warrior, strategic, but when it comes down to, like, intelligence, she's kind of more brute force than great mind.
Agreed, but, like, she picks up pretty quickly that there's something fishy, right?
But that's what I'm saying.
She doesn't know what it is. It's not her job to know what it is.
Isn't the smartest one figures it out immediately.
Yeah,
whereas Black Mask seems like a complete idiot and is just standing there like, "That's my boy, fighting for daddy." Like, what the?
But he's not like that. In the 6th issue, he actually says at the ending of the 5th. Whichever one.
Yeah, you find out that the whole time, "I was playing you. I needed that cure you gave the mayor."
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. He's thinking 5 steps ahead.
Yeah, okay, but here's the thing.
Are you going to condemn any guy who's, like,
I'm going to condemn
people? Like, that happens all the time.
See, rewind. Batman is the second smartest in the universe, and Jason outthought Batman for a split second. And now Black Mask was outthinking Jason the entire 6 issues?
But you find out, though, he actually says that Batman's the one who hired him to do it. So for all you know, that one moment in time when he's having, like, that moment in... Because you're trying to adhere to the reader, right? Why would this happen? He's having a thought. Mm-hmm. But then you find out afterwards, like, no, they were working together. So, so for all you know, just like how Jason was not pulling all the punches on Artemis.
He might have been pulling
Batman
the punches.
Batman would have been doing the same thing.
Perfectly fine. Let's remove that from the equation.
Then go for it. I'm gonna depict this whole thing.
Trust me, you're not. Because even by then, let's look. So we're gonna take the history of Jason Todd. Then
go for it.
Jason Todd is a character. Lazarus Pit, well trained by Batman, one of the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be as smart as Batman.
Okay.
But smarter than the Black Mask. Thank you.
I agree. I agree. Smarter than the Black Mask. However, no.
No. I wasn't finished. I just needed to agree to that statement. He's smarter than the Black Mask. Yes or no? In the grand scheme of the DC universe, anyone who's been trained by Batman who sees intelligence in people, he doesn't bring stupid people into his group. Like you said, even Spoiler, who was brought in, wasn't brought in because he wanted her. She had to beg him for months and was only brought in because of Tim Drake. So Batman recognizes intelligence and only works with people he thinks have a certain level of intelligence that he can work with.
But there's a difference between having intelligence and having... There's a difference between having intelligence... Mm-hmm. And having all the cards. If you're playing a game and you only have half the cards, you can only play so smart regardless of how intelligent you are.
It's not half the cards. You're running around with Batman's logo on your chest fighting a guy who already knows you're fucking...
But the thing is, he knew right away off the... Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
So, Black Mask knows his plan.
Yeah.
He knows everything that's going on. He knows that the mayor gets cured. It's obvious that he was able to decipher that when Robin shot the mayor... Red Hood. Shot the mayor, he
fixed him.
He fixed him. So, like, right off the bat, he's like, okay, well, this guy has stuff that I know that I need. And he's already said at the beginning that he's currently a collector of power.
Yes.
He
what
says
you're describing right now is everything that's proving why I think Red Hood is a fucking idiot in this.
How so? He even addresses that. He's like, I don't know what the game plan is.
Because you're building the case against Red Hood for me without realizing. By all means.
Well, I'm just saying that whether one is more intelligent than the other, he addresses that he doesn't know what his game plan is.
Yeah.
Okay? And he doesn't have enough pieces yet to figure it out.
Red Hood doesn't.
Red Hood doesn't, yeah.
What were the pieces Red Hood was missing?
Go for it. Tell me.
No, that's what I'm asking you. Because you're saying he doesn't have all the pieces.
Well, he didn't know that he didn't know that he was going to per se control Bizarro.
Ignore that part.
He thought that was just going to be a weapon.
Yeah, but that's more towards the end.
And then when he went to go back to his place, it was to basically get...
But, okay, so, in this storyline, Jason Todd sees that Black Mask has the technology to control a mind.
Mm-hmm.
He goes after the mayor, cures the mayor. Black Mask is now aware that Jason Todd, Red Hood, has the ability to stop what he has.
Yes.
So... he now needs to get that information. Black Mask trades in information and power. Cool. So now he goes after Red Hood to bring him into his team. Immediately tells him, you're like a son to me. You're my second in command.
Which is where the manipulation starts, though.
That's the problem. Once again, the case you're making is that Jason Todd is so weak-minded that he's that easily manipulated by Black Mask?
No, but it's like one of those situations where you're having two double agents playing each other, you know?
Yes, but Red Hood is a Batman-trained, level intelligent double agent, and he's not smart enough to realize he's being played by the Black Mask? Some, like... 2-bit underground boss. Even at his most intelligent, these bosses have never been able to outdo Batman or most of the Bat family. So why is it that Red Hood is not that smart in this story? That's what drove me crazy. I have such a high regard for Bat family members that reading a story where a guy is literally showing that he's Batman affiliated starts working.
You can't get past it.
I can't. Because for 3 issues, it's not addressed, and that makes absolutely no sense to me that you are wearing the red Batman logo, running around, and this guy, and you don't find it weird that this guy made you his second in command immediately? What? So you guys are playing each other. You don't know, Jason Todd doesn't know that what's about to happen is Bizarro. He doesn't know. He doesn't know who Artemis is. She shows up thinking that the train cart is containing the bow of Ra. So she gets thrown into the mix. He starts working with her indirectly, directly, just enough to survive. Gets knocked out. Then the next day, when he wakes up in the morning, his Red Hood helmet is sitting there. And he's just like, I didn't bring any extra. Oh, did he make one for me? And puts it on. Not once does he question.
That I agree with you.
Did he bug the helmet? Did he put cameras in the helmet? Is the helmet going to like electrocute me if I betray him? Nothing. There's no panels in which he checks. First of all, Batman and the whole Bat family rig their masks most of the time.
Most of the time.
So... is it that Jason doesn't rig his? Fine. He doesn't rig his.
No, he does. We know he does.
Exactly.
We know he does.
Exactly! There's so many things that this writer just skips over. Jason... oh my god, the sheer anger. Jason Todd is one of the more intelligent characters. When he first comes back as the Red Hood the first time and fights Batman, Batman is desperately trying to figure out, why does this guy know so much? And it's just this amazing story of Batman feeling weak and Jason Todd being like, why didn't you avenge me?
But you know what?
And then this guy...
I'm so happy you actually brought that up.
This guy shows up who doesn't even think, maybe my mask has been hacked.
I can give actually a good reason as to why Black Mask is ahead of the Red Hood in this one.
Oh, please do. Because...
okay. And this is trying to take a history standpoint, right?
Okay.
So, you know, I'm treading in thin waters. I won't lie, right? But if we think about that story arc, the story arc you just specified, when Red Hood comes back, Who is the person who gets screwed over in the Red Hood story arc the most?
Oh, damn, I don't remember. Who?
Black Mask.
Oh.
Black Mask is the guy who Jason Todd goes and kills all of his lieutenants and is trying to take over everything, right? So if we think on a chronological point of view, it could be that this is actually something that I wish they would have done because it would have made it a little bit beefier.
Yeah.
This could have been, if they would have drawn this as Black Mask's revenge on Red Hood.
Yes.
All of this would have been actually a lot easier to process, no?
Yes. Because if he had been planning this since the
beginning,
moment
they got fucked over.
I'd be like, okay, maybe. Still a maybe, but an okay. But
I got a tip of the hat, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I would like stand there and be like, oh yeah, tip of the hat. But this version of the story in which Jason doesn't seem to be thinking past his feet drove me nuts.
But then again, Jason is also being a fan of Jason.
And anger.
He can go. He is the Jon Snow of the Robins.
Yeah, the bastard. That's fair.
No, but not just that. Like one of the smartest people out there, right? Yeah. But if you do something to piss him off, all of his intelligence goes. Jon Snow, what happens? His brother dies. He starts a whole army. He runs into.
But the thing is,
you get what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, but why is Jason that mad at the Black Mask? Because of Mama, whatever. In
the
orphanage.
But this, I would say, is a combination of everything. Like, first of all, his obvious history. If you were to read, because the one thing about this specific story arc or book, I should say, is that if you so happen to have read Red Hood and the Outlaws. And then Red Hood and Arsenal, which is basically the two stories arcs that Jason's doing before this happens. That's the new 52.
Oh, so you're talking about the 2011 Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Yeah, because that's when he starts with Arsenal and he starts with Starfire. Then Starfire leaves and it's just him and Arsenal. If you were to read that and know where his... And I'm saying that because I am someone who did read all that. I've followed Red Hood for a while now. If you were to take all that and see where he is today, you could tell that he's now a man who's frustrated. He's now a man who's alone. It is a point for for his type of character. This is when he's starting to become that John. I'm only making this comparison because I really feel like they're very comparable. This is when there's that Jon Snow and his brother dies, and he's all suddenly running into an empty battlefield because he's running alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like he gives up the intelligence and goes full just emotion.
Yeah, and also
but the thing is, I just don't get why Jason would be full emotion here. That's what I don't understand.
Anytime he comes back in Gotham, whenever you see him, and whenever
why would Batman use him in this story? Like these are all the parts that don't make sense to me. If what you're saying is the reason that Jason gets kind of flustered and doesn't think logically is because Gotham has that effect on him, then why the hell would Batman be like, you know what? I got a perfect mission for you. What's that? I need you to come to Gotham and work in the underground.
But really? That's arguing why does X-Force exist? You know what I mean?
Which X-Force? Wolverine's X-Force?
Every X-Force has always had the same purpose.
Yeah, to handle the cases that
the X-Men won't do.
Yeah, but that's
same thing in this situation. Red Hood will do certain things that Batman won't do. Yes, and Batman doesn't mind for X reason or another, and this is a whole other argument. He doesn't mind turning a blind eye to that, right?
Yeah, but he's turning a blind eye to the psychological issue that Jason has working in Gotham that makes him so stupid that he wears a Batman symbol and runs around in front of the crime boss.
The thing is, I'm not saying it makes him stupid. I'm just saying that it makes him not do the think ahead. You could be running full force and still have intelligence.
Sure, but he doesn't in this story. That's my point. Every part of the story
if you're able to calm down and make a Bizarro not kill a bunch of people and be able to diffuse the situations he's been able to do without killing people and turn somebody who would regularly destroy your entire city, if not the world, and bring them onto your side, I think it's pretty good.
That's not necessarily intelligence. That's empathy. He's able to communicate with someone on their level. You don't necessarily have to be intelligent to be...
To speak to Bizarro, you have to have the intelligence to be able to figure things out.
Funny enough, you're making the argument for his emotions again. Empathic people who relate to people's emotions are able to communicate with them on that level. That's what he did. It's not necessarily an intelligence thing. It's also a survival mode thing, because Bizarro would have killed him. That's the thing.
I still think it requires a bit of intelligence.
it requires enough intelligence that, you know, Booster Gold could have, but not necessarily Batman level intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
I'm going to take my head out. I'm going to take my hat out now because, first of all, I'm going to admit that I have the bias towards Red Hood.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
you know what? I already made the discussion for Booster Gold. I already proved Booster Gold in another episode.
Booster Gold is a great character, but Booster Gold is not Batman or Bat Family level intelligent when it comes.
I'd never compare that, but
that's what I'm saying. The level of intelligence needed to get a Bizarro to sit down and process the emotions he's feeling so that he doesn't destroy a city. I don't see that as a necessarily intelligent move. I see that as, you know, knowing you need to survive. A Bizarro is a very dangerous creature who, without anyone kind of having him assess the moment, would just go wild. A Bizarro with no process of his environment would just start to destroy things. He has no reason to care about anything. He's a test tube kid that was just brought out 2 weeks ago, and he's just all energy and strength and anger and confusion. And so for Red Hood to come in and sit him down and calm him down and get him to like mellow out and say, okay, buddy, what are we angry about? I'm okay with that. But I still don't think that Lobdell did Red Hood justice. That's my problem.
That's fair.
I don't think he did the character justice because I think at the end of the day, the Red Hood is a lot more intelligent than he wrote the character. And that's what drove me crazy. I feel like he took... Because Bizarro is Bizarro, and he wrote Bizarro very well. Artemis, from what I understand, very well. But Red Hood comes across as... I don't even understand what I was reading when I read Red Hood. That's what upset me so much. That's what made me annoyed, that I like Red Hood, and this wasn't Red Hood to me.
But you know what? I think what you're going through is exactly something that I've wanted for a really long time, and that's the actual want for a Red Hood book.
Okay.
Let's just... And I'm
like
here...
a solo story?
I'm playing devil's advocate here, and I'm also playing devil's advocate because I love Red Hood, and I find it hard to be honest, even though honesty is sometimes, you know, hurting my feelings towards my characters, but
again,
no, I'm just joking about that.
If anything, I'm saying I love Red Hood.
Oh, so do I.
And I think the writer didn't do him justice.
But I think one thing that sucks is when you're doing partner books, right?
Yeah. Yes. I see.
There's always going to be someone who gets cut at the knees.
Yes.
And are you going to cut at the knees of the person who's known more? Or are you going to give more time to the people that aren't known more? Because you got to
build them,
to make people love. And
there you go.
And that's one thing I think that's what happened here. Mm-hmm. It's because I've been actually arguing for a while. I would like to have a Red Hood book. Only him with like crime, only him in the underworld. See exactly how his little brain thinks. Because, like you said, we've said, he has extremes, right?
Yep.
He could be extremely empathetic and go in head first, or he could be the guy who sits back. Is extremely intelligent, strategizes everything. He has both of those because he's been exposed to both of those, right? Yeah. He's been the guy who's like, nope, go in the front lines and you just handle the business because we need to think of like the strategy. And he's been in the opposite end. Mm-hmm. He's had to be the general before. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I'm actually hoping that if and when this story arc this book finally ceases, if they could make a Red Hood book, that I think that the problem with that is that's the real challenge. Yes.
Yeah,
completely agreed. But
I agree. You hit the nail on the head. This story is written, and they had to take Red Hood down to balance out the Dark Trinity, and that's where I feel it lacks and where it messed up. You're right. You're 100% right. I didn't think of it that way, but that's exactly what it was. When I'm reading this story, I'm thinking, oh, they made Bizarro, because you said it last time, because you've been mentioning how excited you are to cover this one.
Yeah, I love this. I've read up to issue 18 at the moment. Yeah. It's all great.
And you've been saying how excited you are for us to read how well Bizarro is written, and I kept asking all these questions, and you're just like, trust me, when you read it, you'll see what I mean. And Bizarro was well written. He's like I said, a confused character who actually has a good heart and has always just been taken advantage of. That's his story. Artemis, interesting character who, again, sounds like she's been taken advantage of. It sounds like people, and that's the common theme of this Dark Trinity. They all feel like they've been taken advantage of. But at the end of the day, the Red Hood is cut down. You're right.
Bit. He's cut a little bit at the knees.
Yeah.
But it's just like how sometimes when you read Batman in certain books, he's not the same.
Yeah, when there's bigger teams, he's not the same.
Like, example, even if you read Batman Detective, where he comes in from time to time, when he interacts with Batwoman. It's Batwoman.
Catherine Kane,
Yeah. Several times I'm like, I don't feel like that's Bruce. Even in issue 6, at one point in time, him and Batman are having a conversation, and
Was
Batman,
it the laugh?
he breaks out into laughter.
Yeah, that was weird.
And he's like, you think that the things I'm doing are legal? They're
Yeah,
completely illegal.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not willing to be that illegal.
Yeah, I like that. I
So,
like that
like-
he acknowledges, I break the law all the time.
Yeah, like all the time. You think it's allowed that I could break into
Yeah,
places and
yeah.
just beat the shit out of people all the
Yeah,
time?
yeah.
No, but I don't put a bullet in them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
basically
yeah.
all he's saying. So I think even with that, you could see like, okay, someone had to be taken back. And like, you have to have someone who's going to be the voice. It's just like if you ever seen that show Bored to Death and Zach Galifianakis is the voice of reason out of like three friends.
Yeah.
It's very weird. He's still Zach Galifianakis,
Yeah.
but he has to be changed.
That's
so
the
that,
detective one, right?
Yeah.
With Jason Schwartzman?
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
you have to take something back so that it all works, but the character is still himself.
Yeah.
That's what I could say about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And one thing I will say, I actually like the comparison of the dark, like the
The Dark Trinity to the Trinity?
if you will. I like that comparison. I don't know of the other versions that you were like alluding to
Oh,
before.
no, well, like I said, it was more... I didn't even bring it up because I felt if we're going to stick to DC, we stick to DC. But I feel like I've seen this Dark Trinity type angle taken before, or dark version of a major team taken before. I mean, in Marvel, they did it with the Dark Avengers. I mean, those were actually just evil characters who were made to pretend to be good. But there's also been the Crime Syndicate of America in the DC universe. And there have been other Trinity-style things where people have tried to emulate the strength of, you know, the light, the dark, and the, I guess, Wonder Woman's justice. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Because Wonder Woman really is the balance between that, like we were saying, if Superman's the left and Batman's the right, Wonder Woman really is in the middle. Like, you know, she'll kill if she has to, but she, you know, has to only in dire straits. You know, when she kills Maxwell Lord in the OMAC storyline, she didn't do that lightly. She did it because he was controlling Superman and Superman was about to kill everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and the one about this is like, is who is the center in this group though?
oh, I mean, Red Hood really is the center.
Yeah, I was about
Oh,
to say.
whereas like who is the center in the other Trinity?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very good question. I don't know if they do it. I mean, Wonder Woman to me comes across as the center because she's kind of the one that's just like, boys. She doesn't actually ever say that, but you get that sense of like Wonder Woman being like that voice.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, like, you know, Batman, we have to do better by this. Superman, we can't just be Boy Scouts every time. But in this group, the Dark Trinity, I mean, I guess it's supposed to be Red Hood.
I think it's supposed to be Red Hood right now.
Yeah, I see. That's the thing. I haven't read past 6, and
Yeah.
you've read further, so I'm sure they kind of, if anything, the Dark Trinity hopefully juggles it a bit.
And what another thing I like, and I think this will be my last review point.
Yeah.
I like how there's that, at least at the end of issue 6, it looks like there is a bigger puppeteer at work
Yes.
at one point, because there is a guy who's actually like getting all the snips of every
Yeah, and
news
he writes
article.
Dark Trinity, and
Yeah,
he's just like,
so, like-
I like this.
So I'm really curious where that comes out of. I think when we were talking, I'm not sure if we mentioned it actually on the podcast or before. You were saying it might be Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
you were thinking.
I'm guessing Lex Luthor. I'm guessing someone who thinks they can manipulate everything.
I'm not sure. And the only reason why I say no to that is the area that he's in. Like it's like it looks like it's a rundown apartment where the snips are and all that.
I mean,
That's just like a
yeah,
thought. Like,
I mean, I don't know Lex Luthor's life in the DC right now. Like, the only reference they had to him at one point was that he's trying to turn the other cheek and be good.
yeah. Well, no,
In this exact story. So, I mean, to me, the only reason I said Lex is because if ever there's someone who's looking to manipulate people and to try and create circumstances where someone could take on the Trinity, it would be Lex Luthor. Okay. But I don't, like I said, I don't know Lex's mind. In this 6-issue arc, they reference to Lex being good now and how he's Superman 2.0, and I don't know. I really more retconning of whatever universe they're doing.
all right. Well, I think that's
fair.
That's the. I don't have anything else to discuss.
No, that's the whole thing. That's the review. Next, we're going to be getting into our segment Non-Canon. This one is where we take characters that we feel would never really be in the Gladiators pit together, but we bring them into our Gladiators pit. This week we have Invincible from Image Comics and Doctor Doom from Marvel versus Gladiator from Marvel, more X-verse related, and Dr. Fate from DC. So I'll start with this one.
Right.
I don't know. With this one,
I don't know.
I gotta tell you. Honestly, because originally you would propose someone like Superman, right? For the
because I was thinking
you
maybe
wanted a powerhouse.
I've always wanted to see Superman versus Gladiator. That's the only.
Yeah.
But that also feels like it's a stalemate.
Yeah. So Invincible is, I would say, on the same level as Superman when it comes to strength, and he has one advantage. He has the healing factor. I mean, Superman throws himself to a yellow sun. He'll probably heal pretty fast. Invincible would need some time to heal in these types of situations, but Invincible versus Gladiator would be one beautiful king fight. Like, God damn. Because the thing is, in reading, because I have the 2 compendiums for Invincible, and the 3rd one should be coming out sometime soon, fingers crossed, because Kirkman just finished the run at 144 issues. But Mark Grayson is insanely powerful at the end, like just next level powerful. And one of the advantages of his people is that when they get injured, although they can get really badly injured and they, pretty much have to patch together, once they heal strong. Like, they heal stronger and they can make themselves faster. So I think that what it comes down to is more the magic. In which case, I really do think Fate has an advantage over Doom. Doom is exceptional when it comes to the mysticism, as much as people don't give him credit for it. He's actually really, really good at it. He becomes really good at it at one point. But I think Fate is just better connected. He's more in tune with it.
Well, the thing about Fate, and this is something I figured out a little bit before coming here, is apparently he's actually immortal.
Yeah.
Which I think actually kind of tilts the scale a bit. And
Fate's the helmet is immortal.
No.
It's not.
No, that's the thing that I was thinking too. If you give me a
because I thought it was the bearer of the helmet that became the new version of Fate.
It literally, I was going on to like this DC wiki of sorts that I've stumbled upon, and it actually says, without the helm, Kent Nelson has only the following magical abilities: immortality, invulnerability, and telekinesis.
Without the helmet?
Without the helm. So I'm like,
interesting.
How is that? So if that works, because the thing is, he has healing abilities, right?
Yeah.
So your guy keeps on getting, and I'm sorry to say your guy, I shouldn't have said it like that.
Fine.
But you have Invincible, who if he keeps on getting beaten up, he's going to have to patch himself up, right?
Yeah.
And then you have, maybe Dr. Doom could help a little bit on that.
Yeah, because he could speed spell for the healing and whatnot. Yeah.
But the thing is,
he'd still have to be fighting off Gladiator and Fate at the same time.
Exactly. And whereas Dr. Doom seems to, and maybe this is my lack of knowing as much about Dr. Doom.
No, but I think I know where you're going.
Is that, but he needs to actually take time to conjure. He needs to, if he wants to figure something out, he'll need to actually take the time to do it. Whereas Dr. Fate, his life is magic, right? He's snapping fingers and things are happening. He's saying 3 words and things are happening. Whereas Dr. Doom would be like, I don't.
I was going to say, if anything, though, Doom wouldn't help Invincible because he's selfish.
Oh, that's another point.
Yeah, Doom.
Would they get along? Which is always a question that we have to ask, right? But Gladiator?
I mean, Gladiator, I feel Gladiator would work better with Doom, with Fate, than Doom would work with Invincible. And Doom is also far more selfish. He's a very, very selfish person.
Because the thing is also, Dr. Doom would maybe skip out. If he saw they were going to hit the dust, he'd be like, you know what? You guys take this guy, I'm out. And I only say that because he has had a history of that, whether you want to say in the movies or whatever. Whereas Gladiator, he would probably be very arrogant to Dr. Fate. He'd be very arrogant, but if the second he was hurting and then Dr. Fate helped him, he has a very loyal background. So if you help me, all of a sudden, like, you're in my family. That's how Gladiator kind of is, or that's how I've seen him.
Yeah.
So, like, and plus Dr. Fate and Gladiator are also very competitive, excessively competitive, in my opinion. Well, at least Gladiator definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say Gladiator. I don't know about Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate is someone who does want to get to where he wants to be, though.
Okay.
That's what I'll give him. Whereas Dr. Doom has those qualities, but again, is also of the mind of, like, I might have better things to do.
Yeah, he's the type of person that's just like, leave and, fight another day.
Exactly.
Invincible, however, unfortunately is not. He's not a fight another day. He will fight literally until he's dying. That's one of the things about him in the comic book. There's a few times where he bolts, but in the few times that he bolts, it's to protect family and stuff. But in a fight, he's notorious for just to keep going. Like, one time literally punched through his gut, holding his intestines, and he was still trying to fight.
And that's why I'm actually. So I'm saying my opinion. I think Gladiator and Dr. Fate take it because of the things we just said.
Yeah,
either Dr. Doom would either stick with it or leave, and then Invincible would keep fighting. And okay, sure, like if the regenerative process for him was like, let's say, Wolverine or Deadpool styles, which it does not sound like what you're saying, or if he would be able to do a thing like going closer to the sun where that would speed it up.
Yeah,
because I don't know, is his powers generated by any?
No, he's just a Voltramite, I think is the name of his people. They just naturally are.
Yeah,
his planet, the way their planet was, or at least his father's planet, because he's half. The way the planet was they just there was a culling, and they culled the weak.
Okay,
and only the strong survived. Very Darwinian. Mentality.
So definitely think Dr. Doom would either bail, and then Gladiator would just basically keep beating the crap of Invincible, and if he got hurt, then you'd have Dr. Fate healing him.
Yeah,
I think it wins.
Doom would have bounced. You're right.
I'm thinking. I'm going the Gladiator Dr. Fate on this one for me.
I agree. You've made the vow, because at first I was just like, I wasn't sure, but the fact that Dr. Doom really would bounce at the first sight of not being able to, I mean.
Realizing that he's on the wrong team in his head.
Yeah. In this scenario, it technically they can't leave because it's like, let's say, some kind of gladiator pit where even their magic wouldn't allow them to leave. But he'd figure out a way to just make it that he's not really helping Invincible. He's really just doing it for himself. And once Invincible's out, which, I mean, Invincible versus Gladiator would be a really insane fight.
Oh, days.
Yeah.
Days.
And Doom and Fate fighting would be, like you said, Fate really would have the advantage with his natural ability, whereas Doom had to, fight quite a bit to learn his skills.
Like he'd still have tricks and whatnot.
Yeah,
but I also feel that if Fate were to, like, example, if you were to drag Fate in Doctor Doom, that Fate lost his helm and then Doom lost all of his armor. Which, let's be honest, like, one thing, he is a magical person, but
he's also
there's a lot of science. There's a lot of, like, he has a semi Iron Man suit going on. And you take that away from him, I don't think he'd be able to meet the standard.
That's fair. All right, so Gladiator and Dr. Fate for the win. Once again, if you guys are interested in these debates and have your own opinions, hit us up right in the comments below, in the episode, tweet, Instagram, Raven, whichever way you want to send it over.
Or if you, and what'd be even more interesting, if you have anything that you're like, no, you guys are wrong, or you forgot this specific comments, thought or anything, reference a book. We'll read it on the show. You never know if it's that interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I have not read every single Doom, Gladiator, or Dr. Fate story. I've read every Invincible one, but the other three characters I don't know every minute detail. So
I actually like Gladiator has a kid.
Oh yeah,
he's actually very entertaining.
His kid's ridiculous.
It's so entertaining though. It's so entertaining.
But going on to our final thoughts, and we're going to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we are reading or discussing Red Hood and the Outlaws 2016, the Dark Trinity story arc, written by Scott Lobdell and art by Dexter Soy. And these are our final thoughts. I'm going to hit you with my final thoughts because they're very short.
Go for it.
Read it.
Oh.
Read it because I might have torn it to shreds with my opinions on it, but I say that as someone that thinks I don't like the writer. I haven't read any other stuff by Lobdell, or maybe I have and I don't know it, but I didn't like how he wrote this story. But the art, like you mentioned before, is great. What the story is building to seems like it's going to be very interesting. And as much as I don't know if he's the right writer for it, he still might be establishing something great enough that down the road someone else could take the seeds and build and plant and grow something better. I don't necessarily think he's the greatest writer. I really think there are things missing from what he was trying to tell us. But I think that he's established things. He's built a foundation that can be built upon, can be fleshed out. So read it.
Okay.
If I was to do my rating on 10, it's like a 6. It still passes because it's still interesting. Like I didn't read it and think, oh, sweet mother, please. Like there have been comics that I've read and I've read the first issue and I put down, I was like, I don't want to read the rest of this. I don't care what happens. So this one I actually still cared.
Okay.
So that's why it gets to 6.
Okay.
There you go.
For me, I'll try not to go too much on it, and I'll give the bias that I have technically read everything to date.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you just said. Just read it. If you like the characters that we talked about being, well, I mean, I don't know if Artemis has been in anything else, but if you like, I could tell you right now, if you've ever been interested in Bizarro, it gets so much better. Not the next story arc, but the story arc after is actually excessively interesting. It's a fun read. It's a quick read. You're not. If you're like, oh, I don't know, because sometimes it's all lengthy and long, you're not going to have that problem. So if you're just like, oh, it's a 50-50, if it's a fun, fast read, I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
I'd say take it that way. And again, like it's the future, and I know I'm biased because of it, but it's the future arcs that make it very, very interesting.
Oh, see, that's what I was saying.
Excessively interesting.
I was saying it really is an opening story, and I think there is something to be built here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and there's some good moments and some laughs during the. There's some interesting.
Batman laughing at the end was hilarious. To me.
Yeah,
that was a great. See, that's the thing. And this is where I think you're right. I think if someone did a Red Hood comic, the Red Hood alone would be interesting because the scenes he has with Batman by himself are interesting.
Yeah.
And it's the one time that the writer didn't piss me off. Like it's the one time that I was reading and I was just like, oh, okay, this isn't that bad. But then as soon as he started throwing in every single panel with the Black Mask and Red Hood together, I was just mad. Every single one. So that's why, yeah. Okay, so you're on 10.
On 10, these 6 issues, I would say maybe a 7.
Oh, so
knowing
only one more than me.
I know.
Okay.
But I have a but. But knowing the rest,
yeah,
it's an 8.
Okay, so 7.
I'm saying 7.
Yeah,
I'm 7. If you're gonna stick to it, and get to the end of all the arcs, it's an 8. I'm trying to sell the book. Go out and buy the book. It's good to buy books.
I'm gonna say it's a 7 from him because this episode is only the Dark Trinity arc, so we
can't get past it.
We're not gonna base it on. So that gives it a 13 on 20.
14 if you're gonna finish the end.
Oh boy. Okay, I mean that's fair. So this episode, that's it, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. I mean, I have one thing to mention for top of the pile / future pile. If you guys have heard or haven't heard, Fantastic Four is coming back.
I'm not talking about this.
That's fine. But the first family,
tilt.
the first family of Marvel's coming back. They're going to be coming back. The original team: Thing, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, and Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic will be coming back in August, I think, 2018. People are somewhat excited. They haven't been together as the incarnation of the team since 2015. So, the Thing and Johnny Storm have been around, but the Sue and Reed have been gone with their kids. So some people are very excited, and
I could say I'm not. But
you're not. That's fair.
The one thing, and I don't want to go too much on a tangent, but I give it the first family of Marvel and whatnot. But you've been sucking the bag for so long, I don't care anymore.
See, that's the thing.
That's my opinion, though. But that's because I find each character can be interesting in separately, but somehow when they're together, I sleep while I read. For me, it more came down to the best stories from the Fantastic Four, when they weren't being campy, because that's one of the that's one of the problems when you're going to do kind of a family story. It gets a little campy. So their car, for example, those 4 pods that connect, and it looked looks stupid, and it's like. Why are we doing stuff like that? Why do they fly around in an open shell? So I get that. But when it came to the science, when they had the story arc with the Civil War, the Fantastic Four Civil War arc, that stuff was interesting to me. The fact that they didn't side with each other, Johnny Storm getting attacked, stuff like that where there's turmoil and, it's a family, so actual family dynamics. Not everything is always perfect, and that's one of the things that I didn't like about the Fantastic Four times. They are almost too perfect all the time. I could see that.
And Civil War showed us, they're actually not perfect. Yeah. And then that leads me to hopes that Dan Slott, when he's writing this, with Sarah. I'm very sorry that I forget her last name, the artist. But I'm hoping that they're gonna write something where the family, Johnny's mad that you guys were gone for 4 years. And the Thing is heartbroken that, he was alone. He felt alone because Johnny wouldn't be there for him. He couldn't be there for Johnny. And I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with the kids because you have Franklin and Valeria.
It's going to be Fantastic Six now?
No, it's Fantastic Four original team. That I very clearly said that.
But how are you going to not... the thing is with them, how are you going to have a story without the kids? How are the kids not going to be part of the team?
I'm hoping that the kids aren't there. I'm hoping that, because one of the things, Franklin's an a reality-altering power mutant. He's like Wanda, Scarlet Witch. And Valeria is super intelligent. She's on the same level as Reed.
So they just might be doing their own thing?
Yeah.
Because they're intelligent enough to do it at that age?
I really think that they could be off doing their own thing because they've been gone and, time jumped them for age. I don't know how you want to do it, but... just don't bring the kids back. And that's always something that's very annoying. Writers always bring in children because they think they need them for stories and pregnancy and stuff like that. I disagree with that stuff. And yeah, I mean, Friends did it and a great sitcom, quote unquote. I mean, I say based on the popularity and culture, but once they introduced a kid for Ross and Rachel, people were just like, well, that was a mistake. Yeah. And
it's just like Big Bang Theory now. It's starting.
Oh, is one of them pregnant? I haven't watched the show in a long time.
One of them has a kid.
Yeah.
And another one's pregnant. So you're just like...
It's always these things that children are brought in to move stories forward, but as soon as they bring them in, writers don't want to write about kids because a lot of them, unless you're doing a family show about having a family and kids, then you're stuck because you're just like, well, what do we write? How do we write this into a story about 4 geeks?
Well, but that's the real ball and chain, though, when it comes down to it. Like, when people are like, oh, you're getting married, it's ball and chain. And when it comes to comic books, the ball and chain is when you have to introduce a kid.
Yes.
Because all of a sudden you have to take... Everything gets shifted around the kid. Unless you're reading something like, for example, Saga... where it's like it's built around the kid, and then you're already starting with it. So it's already a thing that you're dealing. If you're dealing with it at the beginning, it's fine. It's when it gets incorporated after the fact that you're like, well, now you have, because you can't just go out like, oh, I'm going to do crime fighting things. Oh, but we have the kids.
Yeah, who's going to babysit Danielle Cage? Because Luke Cage and Jewel, aka Jessica Jones, are out there saving the world, and it's always just like, I don't know, why'd you guys even create Danielle Cage? Like. Anyways, sorry, we went on another tangent, but
complete tangent.
So for the comic book, 13 on 20. That's our thoughts, our final thoughts. 14, if you want to include
the whole
extra
arc.
points, but that's a whole other conversation. If you guys want to check us out you can check out the site, franklinarmstrong.com. You can check out all our podcasts. There's a podcast page on the site, so go there. You'll see Geektastic Cypher and That's Canon. You can check us out on Instagram and Twitter at @AStrongFranklin. You can check us out on Vero under Franklin Armstrong Collective. And you can always hit us up on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Franklin Armstrong DOTCOM. And then Squared Idea, check them out.
Yes, please do at square-idea.com. Again, you can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And if you're looking for any names to research in regards to Square Idea, Mike Wilcox, Chris Nicholson, they have other stuff that they've done, other little projects that they've posted and this and that. So I'd be interested to get your feedback on that too. So yeah.
And what are the 2 titles?
Well, for us, it's Trinity still, and then you have Mike has done The Fathom, which is a zombie apocalypse story. And but they've also done some other like art stuff and publicity for other other artists in Montreal. So you can always check that stuff out as well.
Awesome. So guys, thank you very much. That's the whole show. We'll be back when we're back. We look forward to you guys enjoying this one and future episodes. Peace.
See you soon.